All right, I'm going to respond to the video that Drew put up a couple days ago about the college football playoff. In his video, which if you haven't seen, you should go and watch it, but I'll give you a synopsis now. He says that he would leave the college football playoff as is, no changes. He says it works well, and that he doesn't think that we need to mess with something that's working, and it's the best system that they've had to decide a champion in the college football since beginning of time, basically, because they had the bowl system and the AP system, and then the BCS, and now they have the college football playoff, which is a four-team playoff. I think they need to expand the playoff because just because it's the best thing that we've had doesn't mean that it couldn't get better. The reason I think we need to expand the playoff is just for actually some of the reasons Drew said we need to keep it. Because one in particular reason, uh, he cited the year that Ohio State went to the playoff and Penn State, even though they won their conference championship, was left out and Ohio State went. I think that was probably the biggest injustice done in the college football playoff era. Not that I don't know that Ohio State didn't deserve to be in the playoff, but Penn State absolutely deserved to be in the playoff for beating Ohio State, who got in the playoff. So that's why they need to expand the field. And my plan to expand it would be an 8-team playoff. And I think the best way to do that is you take the conference champions from your five Power Five conferences, which is Pac 12, Big 12, Big 10, ACC, SEC. And then you take the next three top ranked teams. So, say if the Pac 12, if their conference champion in the final poll was, say, number, I don't know, 8, you would take whatever team was above that. So, like, you take, if the SEC was 1, ACC was 2, Big 12 was 3, and then um, Pac 12 was 8, and the Big 10 was maybe 6. You would take number 5 and number 7 and number 6, or whatever the math would be. You would take those top teams in the rankings, and that way you would probably get multiple teams from one conference, but then you could also get some of the non-Power 5 schools that, say, like when UCF went undefeated, they would have made the playoffs. If a team like back a few years ago, Utah, even though they can make playoffs now in a Power 5 conference, if they were to have went undefeated, they would make the playoff in that system. And I think that's the most fair and equitable way to do the playoffs. The other thing I would think we should do in the playoff is instead of having the destination bowls, I think you should save that for the semifinals and the finals, and have that first round, the first 4 games, be at the top ranked schools' home stadium. So if Alabama was ranked number 1, they'd play number 8, and they would meet in Tuscaloosa. Or if Clemson was number 2 and they'd play number 7, they'd meet in Death Valley. So I think that would be even a bigger incentive to be ranked higher, still make the season matter, still make all the wins matter, make the strength of schedule matter, and it would also be a kind of a reward for those top teams finishing in the top 4, because they'd be the host team of a playoff game, and that would be just an even bigger event that could happen. I think that would be really a good thing for just attendance and ticket sales, and just be a big boost for the colleges themselves. And like I said, then you would have other teams that could actually compete, because as it stands now, the the non-Power 5 schools really don't have a chance to make the playoffs because of the way it's set up. They're not going to put UCF over a one-loss Alabama or a one-loss Clemson or somebody that maybe like Ohio State that didn't even win their conference championship. They're going to make it over an undefeated, UCF or Boise or whoever it is. I think that would be the most fair and also just more exciting. You would get a really good sense of these teams. It may not really affect who the top teams are when you get into the semifinals and the finals, but you would have a chance for these teams that most likely were not going to make the playoffs because of just their conference situation, or a team that maybe like Penn State wins their conference and makes the playoffs, or say that a team, kind of like, when a team makes the NCAA tournament because they win their conference, it's gives those conference games even bigger meaning because you could, win your side of your conference, even if you don't think you've got a chance to make the playoffs, you might knock off the top ranked team and make the playoffs. So they give those games even bigger meaning, especially for the teams that are underdogs. So I think that's a few reasons why I think they should expand the playoffs, and a few things I think that would improve the just overall experience and make the season even better than it is right now. I will agree that the 4-team playoff is better than the BCS system, but still I think that it should be improved upon, and it can be improved upon, and it would make it for a better, just a better season and a better ending to the season. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts on this video and others.